Um, so I think I think everybody has this practice. Oh, I'm just gonna take it down. Okay, everybody has the practice formatting sample thing. So I think, but I'm also gonna show you the memorial that was given, the reference memorial. You can you can see when I switch, right?
Yes, we can.
As you can tell, I'm not that old, but pretty old when it comes to tech. But yeah, so let's just begin with these. But I would also like to see if there are any questions in the beginning, some of the things that you might be struggling or you really want to know about, so that I can also focus. So if you can just put things that you're excited about learning or expectations or anything, you can put it in the chat box, and I'll just um, read through it. Yeah, I'm just gonna see if there's anything in the chat. Okay, there's nothing. But yeah, do type in anything, just so that I also know what I might need to cater to. Okay, so as you can see on the cover page, they have few things, right? So your cover page, there's nothing much one needs to do in the cover page. You just need to, important things are to need to have your team code. As you can see here, it always needs to be here, and then for the purpose, and everyone knows why we need a team code, so that you don't disclose your university or your other names. So these are very pretty confidential matter things. So this is the only thing through which you will be identified. So make sure your team code is always there. In my years of experience and also ranking memorial, we've had few memorials which missed some element, like some missed the team code entirely, and then we realized that the team code was at the end of the memorial, so that didn't make sense, right? And then some of the team who because it's such a small thing and it's like the first thing that you see, so it's very easy to scroll down, right? And so some of the memorials, like for example, as you can see here, it's 115C. It just didn't have the letter, like the alphabet following the number. So it's always very important for you to have all those things sorted. And I think that's the first thing that you look into. Like even before you start your writing your memorial, just have it there. Like just leave the first page there, write your team code, and you can do other things as well. And then there are other things. For example, this one is in particular about the World Trade Organization, and so WTO. I'm guessing this is in relation to arbitration. I have not had the time to read through um, the memorial or the moot problem, but you always need to mention like which court are you submitting it to. So is it the ICJ, the ICC, the WTO, the other ISSID, or other arbitration court? So that's two things that you really must emphasize on. And the third thing here is, again, like very clearly emphasized here, is the name of the case, right? So it'll be given in your problem, just copy paste it, make and just do it. And the other two things are the parties. Usually you have the full name of the party, so I'm not sure if this particular name of the parties are, if this was given in the memorial or they have the fuller name. So if you have the full name, usually if it's ICJ or ICC, they have states or individuals. So it's you use the full name when it's given, and it's very easy to have that. So and again, like which is the complainant and which is the respondent, or just in terms of yeah. So these are a few things, and then the other most important thing is to have like from which side, which party is this memorial from. So here it's very clearly written submission for the complainant. So these are the like one, two, three. I'm just trying to see how, like, five things that you must have in your cover page. And when you make cover page, just keep it simple as this one. You don't need to design it or make it more complicated. And even here, maybe because this one was virtual, you don't even need to have the color, because when you print it out, you just print it out in a colored paper, right? So usually you'll have one for claimant and defendant, and so they'll be colored assigned, and you can just go with the red or blue. And even if they haven't assigned you the colors, while printing, you just print it in colored paper if it's like paper submission, right? Hard paper submission. But if it's not, as like in this, you can just put a color on it. And the other important thing, I guess, is people really get confused in terms of like which logo or like how to get it, you can just go to the actual court or the arbitration itself and see some of the the cases and just copy paste or just try to make your cover page as similar as to the the one present in the website. It's pretty easy. I think that's the part in cover page. Shouldn't you guys shouldn't have any questions. It's not rocket science there, but yeah, that's the few things. Let's just go get on. Okay. Yeah, let's just go into the table of contents. Okay, so the trick for the table of contents is yeah. So table of contents is to if you can see here, right? This is your home button, and if you go to reference, you see this page called table of contents. You don't need to click it here at the moment. If you go on the slide right, you can see there's add text and there is update table. So if you put on the add text, right, you'll see do not show in the table of content. You'll see level 1, level 2, level 3. So these are very important markers, and even in and I would suggest when you start writing your memorial to update few things. For example, if I were to write here um, claim 1, right? So claim 1, something happened, right? And then what I can do is if this is my claim 1, I can just make it like level 2, and the reason I'm making it level 2 and not level 1 is because if I make okay is because let me just for example, let's say this will come under your legal pleading, right? This is your legal pleadings, and under legal pleadings you have your claim 1. So if you have your legal pleadings as level 1 and then your claim 1 as level 2, and then for example you might have subclaims, right? So 1.1, something really happened. Yeah, you can just copy paste things and yeah, just be okay. And so if you have this, right, and then just do it level 3, and I'm assuming that this one, that there isn't a format. If there is, it's going to be embarrassing, but you just go here and then just create your table of content, choose from here, and then okay. Oh, okay. So there was already a table of content already linked down. That's why you can see all of these things. So what you can do for that matter is let's just go and see which were the things. Okay, so I guess these were your okay. So what you can do to if there are some confusions or some mess there, what you can do is control all and just go do not show in the table, and then you'll start fresh. So maybe do that when you begin, so that if someone else is working on the document, especially since you're a team, right? So there'll be multiple people working on the document, and so some people might already have certain references, and they've not completed it and you're working on it. So it's always very helpful to just start fresh. So you just control everything and then just do not show in the table of contents. So by doing this, you don't have to find individual things to dismiss. So again, this will be your level 1, this will be your level 2, and this will be your level 3. And the reason for this hierarchy, if that's the correct word, is because these are the orders, right? Your legal pleadings is your main heading. So for example, the other before legal pleadings, you might have your summary of facts, right? So this is also one of the main headings, right? So this would go on level 1. And so when you do the table of contents, choose anything from here. You can even more custom make it, but just yeah, like very simple. Choose table of contents. Oh, start gallery. Okay, what happened? Oh yeah. Okay, so you can just see that they'll have it, and you can as no entries found. What happened? Yikes. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay, this is level 1, right? This is your level 1, and it should work. Creating table start by applying heading style from style gallery by the selected screen. Okay. I'm just gonna open a new document and try to show you guys. But yeah, and let's see if this works, right? So go to your reference, your at text, your level. This should be your level one. This should be your level one. Oh, and since I just copy pasted from the other side, they still have um the format, which shouldn't. I did set copy text only. Why does it still have the format? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's do this, and this is your thing too, and oh yeah, and whenever you do this, like change them into some headings, it will always mess it up. So you can, if it bothers you very much, you can just like I think you can like custom set it and make sure that whenever you start using it, like it'll just come in the plain text. But you know it. But if it doesn't, you can always change it in the end by just like while formatting the entire document. So now it should work, right? So table of contents. So very easy just in terms of like so this is how your table of content, you would make your table of content pretty quick, pretty easy. I'm saying it's always important to have this, and you also need to remember that whatever shape or sorry font you're using here, if it's like maybe italicized, or if this one has let's say like uppercase words, right? And you just go here, update the table on the entire table. It'll just come in come very similarly when you make the table of content, right? So and the reason I'm saying this is it's when you're making the table of content, just going back to the ones we had, right? As you can see, oh, where did it go? You can see that the table of contents, um, maybe avoid this one. Not have it. It's pretty obvious that's the table of content and you don't need to have it, right? So for example, you have a list of abbreviation which is all uppercase, and then when you go down, this one is bold. So it probably mean that when they made the argument, they were bold, right? And that's why it comes up here. So yeah, so always remember that whatever font you're using, like if you're italicizing anything, let me just see. So this is okay. It'll just come the same upstairs, right? Like when you're making the table of content. So always just make sure you have what you want, because sometimes when you keep like updating things, they might not work, but yeah, that's the one point. But just in terms of here, what I would also this is something that you do additionally, is when you look at your table of content and you have a lot of things, right? For example, let's just go with the one we had. Did I delete it? Okay, I'm just going to use this one, right? Reference material. As you can see, there are like so many things. There's so many things in the table of content, and it's pretty easy to get lost in. So what they've done here is made the main your main headings, uh, um, you know, um, all in caps lock, right? All uppercase. So it's very easier now to separate which what is what. And then as you go, right, these are your legal pleadings, and then once you go inside the legal pleadings, you can see this is bold, and the other ones are just like your normal letters. Now what I would do if it was me who was making this table of content, was maybe okay, maybe I'm just going to show the one that I did. Okay, so this was one, right? There are lots of mistake. Oh gosh, 4 years back. Looking at things that you did 4 years back, right? So right. So for example, instead of having that like bold, you can just have it in a very similar manner. But then when you go to your second argument, I just keep on clicking. Oh, it's kind of okay. And what you can see is that you can just italicize it so that it looks a bit different, and then you can have different formatting for them. So once you start, it's all caps lock, and then if it's a second heading, you just slant it, and when you go to sub argument, you can just use the normal formatting instead of making it bold. It might work. So it just depends on there's no, as said, if you have all these things, all the marker, you'll get the full point, but these are certain things just to get the brownie points, right? So whatever you think might appeal to the judges, do that. There's no hard and fast rule. I was just telling, I would personally not have like some of the things bold, like just bold, because it kind of throws off, because these are your main headings, right? And then you have a subheading which is under legal pleadings, which is the most important part of the document, and some judges might see that as the main part of the documents, but it also just throws it off by little. And one thing, just in comparison to these two documents which I showed in this one, um, and which was it? It was, oh, it's the same document. This one and this one, as you can see, is that there is this slight indent. And we're also going to talk about indent, especially in your citation. It's super important. It makes your um, whole like memorial look cleaner. So it has a slight indent, meaning that there is a little bit of space between like argument one and argument two, like sub argument, and it just makes it more cleaner. And and then you can also, yeah. So that's the thing which this didn't have, because we were doing last minute submission. Everything was done. It was a bit of a hustle at the last moment. So that's that. So I guess that sums up just in terms of how do we work with the table of content. And it's also very important when you go, it's so when you are writing your memorial, just to mark, very easy, go to reference, add text, and then always remember that this will be your heading one, this will be your arguments, right? And then this will be your sub arguments. So it just makes everything more easier, and everything just comes in this different format with the indent itself. So that's that. So is there any question, or just want to stop here? Are you guys following me? Is there any question? We've covered your cover page and table of content, which is super easy. You just get it done very quickly if you just knew a few tricks. Okay, I don't see any comments or someone unmuting themselves to ask questions or anything. So why don't we go to this, uh, your list of abbreviation? Okay, I think these are very like um, hmm, pretty simple things, right? Just list of abbreviation. You just have all of your list of abbreviation as you, let's just go through this one, right? So you have your list of abbreviation, and so yeah, just a good table of a table. Always use tables, guys. Like it just is more cleaner, it's more helpful. And I might just be able to show you maybe a quick trick here, which I think might be interesting. And okay, so for example, oh, if I have the table and I'm just gonna make four tables, and you might be asking, why do we need four tables, right? Or three? I don't know how many tables do we need. Yeah, three tables should do. Do the columns, right? And so, for example, this is your ABC, and also it is BCA, and it means something. It means something important, right? And the reason I'm leaving a gap here is just to so sometimes you can have a dasher, and sometimes you don't need to have a dasher. But once you have this and you have all your table of content, what you can actually do is you can just go here and just have it like no border, right? So your table is still here, but since you did it invisible, it becomes more cleaner. So this would also be very eye-catching and important, but just to remove this illusion and remove this, and then just have it as plain, and this would look, and then if you want to edit it further, just go there and then have it at all borders, and you can just, this I think looks more cleaner. And having this particular additional box makes it so much easier, so that everything is has a like is in the similar line. Yeah. So, and then it also makes sure that there is a slight bit of gap. For example, if it's, oh, if you were to have it this close, and if you didn't have this box, right, So there'll always be some like words which might be lengthier, which the initials of each acronyms, they might be lengthier, and some might be short. So it just takes longer space and smaller space, and then it just and right after it ends, their full form, the entirety of the word appears. So it's very good to have this particular box. That's the only thing I'm going to say about your list of abbreviation. And you have your index of authority here, which is another wormhole of its own. And here I think I'm going to ask any of the your seniors who are particularly familiar with it can come over, because I tried the automated um, index of authority, but it quite didn't work for me. So for that, what you need to do is just go to reference. You see this part where you have insert table of authorities, and then you have your mark citations. So for example, if I'm not sure, was it because this was already given to me when I did it, it didn't work. But the whole idea is, once you have your citation, you can just do here. You can do Alt Shift and I, or you can just go here and do mark citations, and you'll have your, and then okay, for example, once first you like your table of authorities, right? And you have all your like cases, statutes, authorities. Where is it? Okay. Um, so yeah, I am. Would any one of you want to come forward and help me out with this part? Because I tried it this morning, it really didn't work for me. It did, but it has been some time for me when I used the table of authorities, so it didn't really work out for me. So, but the whole idea is to use this box. There is like Microsoft is so generous. They have an entire like how to just in terms of like how to use your index of authorities automated. You have this page, right? And so you can follow this page as well, but I'm being very lazy in this matter. So yeah, so Diksha or anyone of you would like to come in here and just show would like to show how it actually works, because for me it was not working.
Maybe we can try it in a new document, like write something and mark a citation and then see it.
Okay, let's try that as well. Okay. So just in times, remind me. Okay, let's say this, right? So it has your footnote, and this was taken from that um, your table. Okay. Why do I already have a category? Does anyone know how to modify the categories? Okay, I'm gonna try this with you guys. So if it fails, I'm just gonna ask Diksha to just share her screen and do it for me. Is that okay, Diksha? So do your
Yeah,
marking
yeah,
citation.
absolutely.
Okay, that. Oh, sorry. This is your full site. Oh, your citation, and then you just mark it, right? Um, and I guess you just, for example, what is it? Is it rule? Is it statutes? Let's just say this is some like some rule somewhere out, right? And you can just remove this. Okay, this whole thing, where did it go? Yeah, Diksha, I think I'm just gonna hand this one over to you. I'm pretty confused in this part as well, and don't wanna yeah, just make it more complicated to others. I'm just gonna stop sharing my screen. Sorry, I'm being lazy, but thank you for taking over.
It's totally okay. So म मेरो स्क्रिन सेयर गरेर सबैजनालाई देखाइदिन्छु and we'll try it out है त. Okay. Is my screen visible?
Yeah,
Okay. Can you see the document that I'm sharing?
yeah, clearly.
ओके सो टेबल अफ अथोरिटिज बनाउनको लागि चाहिँ सुरुमा चाहिँ हामीले सबै साइटेसन्सहरू मार्क गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ अब यो चाहिँ यो हामीले बनाएको डकुमेन्टमा चाहिँ इन्डेक्स अफ अथोरिटिज बनाइसकेको छैन सो म एकचोटि पहिला यसलाई चाहिँ क्रिएट स्पेस है त ओके सरी alright so यसमा चाहिँ no I think अलिकति मिस्टेक भयो ओके एनिवे यसमा चाहिँ सुरुमा के गर्ने भने हाम्रो अब नम्बर 1 को यो न्युयोर्क कन्भेन्सन नो नो आई थिंक यो 1 नम्बरको साइटेसन इज फ्रम a year. Okay, so as you all can see, your court shall show due deference while line. But मैले यहाँ footnote राखेँ. Footnote is basically references मा जाने insert footnote गर्यो भने यहाँ गएर एउटा footnote add गर्न मिल्छ हैन. अब यसमा 1 नम्बरको साइटेसनमा गएर चाहिँ if I select this अनि त्यसपछि मार्क साइटेसन गरे भने चाहिँ यहाँनिर चाहिँ एउटा बक्स अपियर हुन्छ अनि यो मार्क साइटेसन गर्दाखेरि यहाँ क्याटेगोरिजहरू हुन्छ हैन अब यो सिन्स कन्भेन्सन अन द रेकग्निसन एन्ड एन्फोर्समेन्ट अफ फरेन आर्बिट्रल अवार्ड्स भनेको चाहिँ केस होइन यो स्ट्याट्युटमा काउन्ट गर्ने कि अदर अथोरिटिजमा रुल्स ट्रिटिज रेगुलेसन्स केसमा काउन्ट गर्ने भनेर चाहिँ आफूलाई आइडिया हुनुपर्छ अब लेट्स से म यसलाई ट्रिटिजमा राखिदिन्छु है त अनि यति भएपछि चाहिँ अब मैले यसलाई मार्क गरेँ भने चाहिँ अहिले यसलाई म यो फर्स्ट मात्रै देखाउँछु है क्लोज गर्यो अनि त्यसपछि यहाँ गएर यो हटाउनको लागि चाहिँ यस्तो गर्ने हो सो व्हेन आई गो हियर एन्ड इन्सर्ट टेबल अफ अथोरिटिज यो ट्रिटिज भनेर चाहिँ कन्भेन्सन अन द रेकग्निसन एन्ड एन्फोर्समेन्ट अफ फरेन आर्बिट्रल अवार्ड्स भनेर आउँछ अब यो सेम चाहिँ तिम्रो अर्को ठाउँमा पनि तिमीले साइट गराएछौ अनि अब लेट्स से 2 नम्बरमै यो सिमिलर कुरा साइट गराएछ भने चाहिँ अब त्यो हामीले अघि नै सुरुमै गर्दाखेरि मार्क साइटेसन गर्दाखेरि नै त्यहाँ नेक्स्ट साइटेसन के अरे मार्क अल गर्यो भने चाहिँ योसँग रिलेटेड चाहिँ सबै कुराहरू चाहिँ त्यही पेज नम्बरमा आउँछ सो वेन अघि नै हामीले देखाएको डकुमेन्टमा पनि एउटा इन्डेक्स अफ मेरो स्क्रिन देखिरहेछ है ओके सो इन्डेक्स अफ अथोरिटिजमा चाहिँ कहिलेकाहीँ कस्तो हुन्छ भने आई विल शो यु अर्को एउटा डकुमेन्ट है त यसमा चाहिँ बेसिकली के हुन्छ भने ओके सो यो एउटा एक्जाम्पल हेर्यो भने चाहिँ यसमा 2-3 पेज नम्बर मेन्सन गरे हुन्छ नि त सो व्हाट दिस मिन्स इज एउटै साइटेसन चाहिँ धेरैवटा पेजेसमा चाहिँ छ भनेर देखाउन खोजेको हो सो अब 2-4 पेज नम्बर 2-10-11 मा देखाउनको लागि चाहिँ अब तिमीले इन्डिभिजुअली गएर त्यसमा गरिराख्न परेन मार्क साइटेसन गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ मार्क अल गर्यो भने चाहिँ अनि त्यही नाम भएको साइटेसन्सहरू छ भने चाहिँ एकैचोटि अटोमेटिकली त्यो माथि गएर बस्छ अब सिन्स यसको चाहिँ सिमिलर नाम छैन यसलाई मैले मार्क मात्रै गरेँ अनि त्यसपछि ओके सो यो मार्क गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ अब माथि गएर अपडेट टेबल गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ यो डिफरेन्ट नेम भएकोले यो चाहिँ सेपरेटली आयो तर नेक्स्ट साइटेसन गर्दाखेरि यदि सिमिलर नाम छ भने चाहिँ मोस्ट केसेसहरुमा चाहिँ अब व्हेन वी से युएस ग्याम्बलिङको केस छ भने चाहिँ युएस ग्याम्बलिङ भनेरै अरु साइटेसन्समा पनि लेख्न पर्छ मेन्सन गर्नै पर्छ सो त्यस्तो केसेसको कुरामा चाहिँ त्यो मार्क अल गर्यो भने चाहिँ यो अटोमेटिकली 2-3 वटा नाम आफै आउँछ अनि पेज नम्बर पनि त्यो आफै आएर इन्डेक्स अफ अथोरिटिजमा बस्छ सो त्यो भयो हैन अरु इज देयर एनीथिङ आई नीड टु से अब
Yeah, just in terms of like के भन्छ since यसमा त certain selected categories मात्र छ नि त हैन
हजुर
अनि so when I used to do it and I used to do it manually अनि this is something that I've seen as well as best practice पनि so a lot of the time I'm just going to show it right what I was asking is there a way to also like have your like भन्नाले आफ्नै categoriesहरू
या
because
या
yeah it just because I also wanted to talk about त्यो part पनि yeah just to
ओके सो 5 नम्बरको चाहिँ यो एनालिटिकल कमेन्टेरी समथिङ छ होइन सो यसको लागि मार्क साइटेसन गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ यो क्याटेगोरीमा चाहिँ अब कमेन्टेरी भनेर कसैलाई राख्न मन लाग्यो तर कमेन्टेरी भन्ने छैन भने चाहिँ देयर आर नम्बर्स कि यही बक्समा एज यु क्यान सी 8 9 10 11 12 भनेर सो वेन यु क्लिक अन दिस सरी सो वेन यु गो टु यतापट्टि क्याटेगोरी भन्ने बटन यसमा चाहिँ 8 नम्बरलाई क्लिक गरेर चाहिँ रिप्लेस विथ कमेन्टेरी गर्यो भने चाहिँ ओके रिप्लेस गरिदियो भने चाहिँ देयर इज अ क्याटेगोरी के अब कमेन्टेरीको क्याटेगोरी भयो सो अब यसलाई कमेन्टेरी भनेर राखिदिउँ अनि मार्क गरेर क्लोज गर्यो अनि माथि टेबलमा गएर चाहिँ अपडेट टेबल गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ should show commentary देखाएन हो I think okay wait so अब टेबल अपडेट गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ एक मिनट है त analytical commentary on this mark citation yeah. Okay, let's try अर्कोसँग है त मुड प्रब्लमलाई नै साइट गरिदिउँ यो चाहिँ खासमा साइट गरी के अरे इन्डेक्स अफ अथोरिटिजमा जाँदैन तर जस्ट फर इक्जाम्पल म यसलाई पनि कमेन्टेरीमै हालिदिन्छु है त मार्क गर्दाखेरि ओके अब चाहिँ जानुपर्ने हो Oh, still not showing. Okay. त्यो केही एरर भएर त्यो चाहिँ देखाएन
no, I think when you did the के भन्छ like that go to insert table of authority security
okay
you,
all
category
number
falls yeah, exactly
oh sorry okay
and so thank you so
yes
much Diksha for that absolutely easy peasy I understood it guys so I'm hoping that it was easy for you guys to understand it as well like okay and the reason I asked Diksha to categories also can you also have it of your own and those things is okay is just in terms of is am I okay yeah I'm sharing my screen okay is because there are different ways you can present your index of authorities and no so it is as you can see here as well it looks much more a bit cleaner to my eyes at least and just in terms of location and everything and just in terms of किनभने so what we did was first we had the legal instrument a legal instrument because के छ right we had the treaties and convention and sometimes it also depends on the order right so there are some documents or the index of authorities so for example if it's the ICJ Charter of the United Nations त हुनै पर्यो right if it's the ICC statute त हुनै पर्यो अब YTO छ भने YTO को पनि आफ्नै certain documents हुन्छ नि त so you also need to be very strategic यस्तो manner so that these treaties and documents which are basis right when we are judging certain memorials in terms of formatting and with these things we'll be given a list and then in that list will be हुन्छ नि यो index of authority मा चाहिँ यो documentsहरु छ कि छैन भन्ने एउटा checklist हुन्छ, right? So and even if the judges are not given this checklist, this यो checklist चाहिँ हाम्रो आफ्नो दिमागमा हुन्छ नि, त्यो मुड पढिसकेपछि सबैले एउटा लिस्ट बनाएको हुन्छ. So if you have perhaps 10 of the things right there on the upfront, right? For example, Charter of the United Nations, Vienna Convention of Law of Treaties, right? Which should, and then your हुन्छ नि अरू human rights treaties and conventionsहरु जस्तै civil and political, अनि economic, social, cultural rights, अनि UDHR. So these are the things which हुन्छ नि यो certain case को लागि चाहिँ was important. Let's see. And then if we go yeah, oh, so iskoma like the agreement itself, right? The agreement that like the parties had, right? So so those agreements are rule and treaties and convention, right? So and then there is like appellate body courts are rule. So all of these things are very important. So that is why I was asking if it's affiliate category one and what we did, which we thought was might have helped us in gaining more score was legal instrument भएर भयो. Legal instrument treaties and conventions देखि लिएर United Nations documents लिएर you have your other documents हुन्छ नि देखि लिएर, and then second मा गएर we had jurisprudence, right? And you can number it as well, right? You can just number it, keep it on the left side, keep the actual like subheadings are in the middle, or so these are all for your brownie points. So yeah, just in terms of as we're coming towards the end of index of authorities, I just wanted to share. So jurisprudence by International Court of Justice kota, and then there are International Court of Justice documents or maybe like dissenting opinions or because these are not your actual त्यो के भन्छ केस लजहरु, but कसैको dissenting opinion हुन्छ or like opposing opinion, if that's the, I don't think that's legally what's it called, तर oh sorry, yeah, separate opinion, here it is. So यस्तो कुराहरु हुन्छ नि. So these are your documents, and ठ्याक्कै यसलाई पनि यसरी categorize गरेर राख्यो भने it just catches the eye. So permanent court of justice उसको छ, and then there are like other miscellaneous casesहरु. So if you have certain international courtsहरु जुन हुन्छ नि or regional courtsहरु छ, you can just put it one by one and त्यो कुन कुन तपाईले case use गर्नु भएको छ. If you use it, it just also shows the diversity of your memorial, right? So here they're just not looking at the format, but also look the index of authority, they're looking in terms of like the format. That's the basic thing. You have to get it right. And if you, like me, are a bit on the difficult side, because I used to do everything manually and it just took so much of time, but I'm learning as well. So once you get it done, the other thing is just to make sure that you present it in a way that it shows a lot of diversity of cases, diversity of legal instrument and documents, and it should be seen in the one go. Because there are like so many memorials and not every judge will be honest and go through all of it. And even if the judges are really good at scoring and they've been judging for a very long time, as I said, they'll just look at few of the things and they'll just see it. So when they look at few of the things, they'll definitely look at the start of your index of authority. So make sure that you have all the important documents, the strong source right up there. And so what we did in our was like, so we had jurisprudence, the different court, like we had the international courts, right? And then, and as you can see, you have regional and municipal cases as well. And then, and so your regional and municipal cases, you also have like certain countries or go, like for example, Nepal ke bhitrako cases are so these are again very I think yo hizo नै कुरा भइसक्यो होला, but just in terms of, right, in terms of memorial ko, what are some of the cases that you use. It's very important to show also individual practices or so there are human rights courts or money where or single country co cases have helped set precedent. They themselves are not precedent, but they have helped shape some recommendations or and it also shows your reach of research. Research individual state co cases or so it's always important to show it so that they don't get missed. So and then we had doctrines, right, books or commentaries or and here like it never has to be in an alphabetical order. It looks good in alphabetical order sometimes, but just try to, not saying so your authors or everyone might have certain hierarchy, but it's all, but just look at it and make an intellectual guess, and then things that are very necessary should be very and also depends on editions or and then there your scholarly writings and your miscellaneous so yeah, that is just in terms of your index of authorities ko kurama, and something that I also wanted to talk about ye belama is just in terms of right. So for example, as you can see, right, you have ला कहाँ गयो? Oh yeah, so you have यहाँनिर हेडरमा चाहिँ 12th GNLU International Moot Court Competition भनेर लेखेको छ नि त. So usually यसमा चाहिँ what I would prefer doing is if you guys have seen it or not seen, यो हेडरमा just for example these are your preliminary pages हुन्छ हैन. So just have like your हुन्छ नि यो हेडरमा त्यसरी गर्दा हुन्छ हैन. यसमा अब यो like let's just see your preliminary your question presented, it comes on preliminary pages, right? And when you go to your and then once it ends, see, and then you have your pleading advanced or rules. Some people go as far as like for example about your summary of pleadings so bunny they'll have header map and summary of pleadings one for example your this is your summary of fact. Your summary of fact might be 2 page, 3 page, or 4 page longer. So त्यति बेलामा what they do is individually नै यो preliminary page मा चाहिँ summary of fact भन्ने header बनाइदियो so that even if you go to the second page हुन्छ नि instead of preliminary pagesहरू you can see it's like summary of fact भनेर it's very there हुन्छ नि. So त्यो हिसाबमा चाहिँ you can do that as well, but even if you don't do that I would suggest at least having हुन्छ नि तीनटा कुराहरू header your preliminary pages of a cover page you just leave it, and then you might have your preliminary pages, and then here you have your pleadings advance or your arguments, your legal arguments, and then your prayer for relief. So it just makes it a bit more like instead of having the international moot court competition that would be much more ways to get brownie point, I guess. I'm just talking about tips and tricks in terms of the brownie points, which was supposed to come at the end, but yeah, those were some of the things. About this, but I think those were like the most important headings, okay? A list of abbreviation. We have gone through index of authorities, and then like statement of jurisdiction, statement of fact, and issues or kokurama. There isn't much just in terms of your formatting. Ani, did you guys talk about ISO? What are some of the things that you need or require, Bonita? Because I don't want to go over it again.
Yeah, we did एकदम ब्रिफमा स्टेटमेन्ट अफ जुरिस्डिक्सन फ्याक्ट्सहरूभित्र के हुन्छ भनेर चाहिँ we discussed हिजो पनि, but it will be nice to have like a brief revision अहिले पनि.
Okay, sure. So hopefully you guys will not feel annoyed or bored. So we'll just go through it. That is why your yeah, don't leave a blank pages like this guy. I'm saying, guys, I don't know why we won, but yeah, as a big mistake, right? So your statement of jurisdiction, it can be long, it can be short, but don't make it longer than your one page. It should just be you submit submitted to the International Court of Justice, and then and this is the space where I think so. For example, Democratic Republic of Arla Banersa, and now we're just going to refer it as Arla Banera. So it's always important to have Democratic Republic of Arla Banera on the front page in itself, just so that you have all of the necessary information required, and then later once you make your arguments or in itself, you can just use Arla from right on the get-go. So here we made International Court of Justice, the court one, we take International Court of Justice one, so it's very easier, and then you need to have like certain legal standings or kun article use gareko ho, kun convention use gareko ho, kun agreement use gareko ho, like who is submitting the case, or like kiki boira koko party, it should come in your first paragraph, right? And then the other things are just in terms of like for example, we further talked about Article 36 one just in terms of yanira and like different things are just to me, and also about court your case ko naam चाहिँ के हो, किन भइराको भनेर, you just had it here. So these are certain things that you can include and not include, but this is such an important thing that you must have it included, because it in itself says कि कुन के को jurisdiction को हिसाबमा चाहिँ आइराको है भनेर. So it needs to be there, and then if you have certain agreements or you I remember मेमोरियल भन्न आएछ के भन्छ जुन केस दिइरहेको हुन्छ त्यो केसमा नै यु विल ह्याभ सर्टन हुन्छ नि कति बेलामा चाहिँ त्यो के उनीहरूकै आफ्नै अग्रिमेन्ट हुन्छ नि त्यो अग्रिमेन्टमा चाहिँ के भने हुन्छ भने हाम्रो यो डिस्कसन्स भयो भने चाहिँ विल टेक इट टु यो कोर्ट भनेर भनेको हुन्छ नि सो ट्राई टु फाइन्ड द्याट इन द फ्याक्ट सिट इन इट सेल्फ राइट एन्ड देन क्लेभरली युज द्याट इन यर स्टेटमेन्ट अफ जुरिस्डिक्सन द्याट really helps shape हुन्छ नि just in terms of the strength of your memorial. So those are like in few things I got. Any question presented very simply, you just take what are the claims and for example, for यहाँनिर हाम्रोमा के claims are. So let's just see some of the issues presented. On यसमा चाहिँ what you can do is you can just to get the points, you can okay, just to get the points right, you can just like यहाँ पनि गराएको छ नि so these यो त होइन okay. Okay, so this will be given in your fact sheet in itself, होइन कम्प्रोमिसमा नै भइरहेको हुन्छ सो त्यही हिसाबमा चाहिँ what you can do is you can either just claim 1 मा यो छ claim 2 मा यो छ भनेर कपी पेस्ट गर्दा पनि हुन्छ or you can just be a bit clever and then use the same thing but change it up हुन्छ नि for example हाम्रोमा this was just one single sentence होइन अनि it was a bit long, usually अलिकति lengthy हुन्छ or and it's very complicated, so just simplify it. Whether, for example, Rebel violated international law on October 23rd, attack on Arla's territory, अनि त्यसमा चाहिँ this was हाम्रो तल गएर these are like questions, right, which we'll be arguing in later. So त्यसमा चाहिँ यो act in itself contribute to rebel लाई गर्न मिल्छ कि मिल्दैन, whether so these were not given but it was in the these were not given explicitly but it was in the के भन्छ compromise भित्रको questions or these are some of the questions that would be dwelling in. So त्यो हिसाबमा चाहिँ you can always do your main claim and you can do sub claims just to give the judges more idea of just in terms of copy paste मात्र गर्नु भन्दाखेरि पनि it just gives you a certain idea, more idea. अनि आफूलाई पनि पछि हेर्दाखेरि सजिलो हुन्छ हामीले के आर्गुमेन्ट बनाइराखेको है भनेर because when you go as a speaker to speak you always go through your memorial, you always have your memorial in hand but it's a 5-second 3-second split decisions and you can't be actually going through the entire document, so maybe you just turn up to your question presented or issues and then you might have a certain mapping, so it really helps as you go just in terms of receiving the brownie point and as a speaker and as a researcher as well, just to have a clearer frame of your arguments त्यो भइहाल्यो अनि त्यसपछि statement of fact. I think just usually moot court competition what I've realized it is that statement of facts is a space to show your the most creative side देखाउने चाहिँ यसमा नै हो हुन्छ नि. You can just use very catchy headings हुन्छ नि introduction to Ireland यहाँनिर अब inter headspace होइन, so we had this company called Headspace and then we were like hate spread through Headspace हुन्छ नि, just trying to make it more catchy, so attack भनेर. So this is a space where you can be as creative as possible. Of course, don't go above and beyond and try to go off, but like just like few simple paragraphs and just give them a very catchy headlines so that it does not look very redundant. This looks more easier to read. For I think even in this memorial, right? If you go to the statement of facts. Yeah, if you go to the same facts, there's like let's talk, right? And then there's like prologue bio, be connected bio. So these are the things. So yeah, just I would say that did anyone work on the memorial? I don't want to offend anyone because obviously so freely comment so
it's okay. खासमा त्यो memorial चाहिँ मेरै टिमको हो. But that's okay, you can comment anything. मलाई एउटा question पनि सोध्न मन लागिरहेको थियो. So since we were talking about statement of facts, people recommend that कहिलेकाहीँ चाहिँ applicant को memorial मा statement of facts लेख्दाखेरि चाहिँ applicant कै case तिर inclined हुने खालको facts लेखौँ अनि respondent को लागि we do the same, write the facts that are more favorable to the respondent भनेर. So is that how it works? Especially because हाम्रो यहाँ धेरै novice motorsहरू हुनुहुन्छ. So is that how it works? Inclination हेरेर चाहिँ facts summarize गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ do we get points for that?
Oh my god, I love your question to begin with. Ani, as you said, Unsani, um, exactly like what you said, there is a certain slight inclination हुन्छ पनि, and you need to have that as well. But it does not mean that you completely wreck the summary of facts and you don't in abanale, and then you don't include certain facts which might be going against abanale. There's कुनै फ्याक्टै हुँदैन that has like complete negative connotation to you, or like if there is such a fact which really wrecks your argument, it is better to have that argument in the summary of fact and then preemptively also deal with it than rather than just missing it. But as you said, it's a very clever point. सुरुको त्यो जुन फ्याक्चुअल कुराहरू छ होइन, अब समय कम्प्रिमेन्ट सबै फ्याक्टै हो होइन, बट मैले भन्नु खोजेँ सर्टन इभेन्ट्सहरू छ होइन, त्यो क्रोनोलोजिकल अर्डरमा छ. Make sure that you have all the take chronology now, or like you have all the certain agreed points, I would say, as it is, right? Applicant ko mapani, defendant ko mapani. But when it comes to certain points, you could highlight certain points. For example, you're a company theory and then landslide boy, right? And then now you're like claiming that that landslide didn't happen because this company ko karanle bhako hoina bhanera, you have to prove that point, right? But in summary of fact, you can't just say that because that comes in your legal argument ni ta. So what you could like cleverly do is just highlight the wording ma, try to highlight, try to see if there are other things. For example, त्यही अब कम्पनीकै भन्नाले it's a space where there is lot of हुन्छ नि natural disaster occur भइरहेछ अरे होइन, अनि कम्प्रोमीमा कतै कतै त्यो छ अरे, because compromise usually are हुन्छ नि very beneficial to the both party, right? So as an applicant, you would be like हुन्छ नि त्यो पोइन्टलाई चाहिँ you would just put it somewhere where it is more miss हुने गरे होइन. But as a defendant, you would be like हुन्छ नि के भन्छ यसमा लाइक ल्यान्डस्लाइडहरू भयो अनि त्यसपछि but all ठ्याक्क त्यही पछि you can just be like it's a space where natural disasters भइरहने अकरहरू भइरहने भनेर. So it's just strategically placing हुन्छ नि त्यो factsहरू, because yeah, and as a judge, you would always appreciate if your summary of fact had हुन्छ नि आफूलाई नेगेटिभ हुने पोइन्ट्सहरू पनि छ भने, because it just would mean that you're just trying to escape certain facts which is harmful to you, so you're just completely negating it. So usually don't do that. If you छ भने छ राखिदियो, but त्यसपछि अरूहरू के हुन्छ नि डिफ्रेन्ट अल्टरनेटिभ्स हुनसक्छ, just focus on that alternatives पनि. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. And it's yeah.
Thank you so much. It does.
Okay. Okay. I think we're also like kind of running out of time. I know. I'm like just keep speak. Okay, so let's just see some certain things about Kiki Gono. Okay. Yeah. Boy, summary of arguments. Wala kuraro bhayo arguments. So maybe what I'll do about is just in terms of like some of the brownie points that we could get right. So for example, yanira amro yo छ नि हैन, like your citations को कुराहरु छ. अब कस्तो मजाले यहाँनिर हुन्छ नि your citation has like that के भन्छ एउटा gap छ नि त. So it's like एउटा one पछि two directly छैन, there is some spacing also. So always make sure हुन्छ नि that you have like you हुन्छ नि spacing you यस्तो भन्दा यो भन्दा त like this looks so much better हुन्छ नि, just in terms of like अनि कहिलेकाहीँ चाहिँ because you'll have longer के अरे त्यो कहिलेकाहीँ चाहिँ त्यो for example website राख्नु पर्यो हैन, अनि युजुअली वेबसाइट राख्दाखेरि चाहिँ वेबसाइट कति लामो हुन्छ नि त, अनि फर्स्टमा यो अड्दै अड्दैन अनि जस्ट मेसेज अफ योर दिस थिङ्स. सो वेन इट डज जस्ट गो देयर, कहिलेकाहीँ युजुअली यो हाम्रो यो जस्टिफाइडमा हुन्छ, जस्ट अनजस्टिफाई इट एन्ड देन अर लाइक इभन इफ यु हेभ टु गिभ इट लाइक तल लानु पऱ्यो भने यसरी आउँछ अनि जस्ट यसलाई मात्रै सेलेक्ट गरेर डु हुन्छ रिमुभ यसको मात्र, एन्ड देन यु क्यान जस्ट सेलेक्ट दिस टु एन्ड देन add paragraph. It's a bit, I know, a bit difficult, but these are certain things that will help you get like more points, or just in terms of like say the heady like the brownie points or that judges are looking, it'll help you achieve that. I mean, the other thing that we usually did, which really shaped the memorial, was to have indent. For example, you do this right and rightly गरेर if you go to paragraph and you have your indent and just go like maybe hanging on त्यसपछि indent like 3 राख्दा हुन्छ होला, right? And you do okay. So त्यो भएपछि once you do tab right, now like, okay, I'm just going to do it for the entirety of bonds. And so these are things that you do afterwards. Everything is settled. Do not do it in the beginning because कति changes are भइरहेको हुन्छ. And I think that's the tip, right? Don't work on making your document perfect in terms of formatting in the beginning. Just be okay that your document will look like a mess, and just work on it. And once you finalize it, then just together you can just work on all of these things. So just gonna show it. Yeah, need a, for example, small thing, right? Such a small thing. And then now this is a bit tough, but okay. Um, okay. So to my eyes, this looks much more pleasing. Then it just shows citations, cats or kids. So these are smaller things that you could do to get that brownie point, you know. So this was one of the things that I wanted to share with you guys. Okay, Gonimals, I'm just looking. Since we have few times, okay. Okay, let's just also talk about the citation in itself, I know. So usually, हाम्रो moot court मा गर्ने भनेको citations are like Oscola or Blue Book citations. Is Blue Book is very complicated to read, but it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. And then there is the other citation. Uh, but yeah, okay. What I'm gonna share with you guys. This website which literally saved my life. It's called Cite This For Me. If अब छ छैन मलाई थाहा छैन सबैसँग. It's a little cheat sheet funny, अनि like, and I don't know if you guys use it or not, because just to have that consistency. Citation मा चाहिँ के हुन्छ भने when you're marking a citation, blue book citation गर भनेर भनेको छ अरे, हैन. I'm just going to stop presenting for a while. Okay. So blue book citation गर भनेर भनिरहेको छ अरे. अनि त्यसपछि when you look at it, like अब maybe 17th edition कुन editionमा, हैन. And sometimes you do make certain mistakes, okay, which are unavoidable. अब if you can do it word by word, comma by comma, everything perfect. But sometimes citation मा अलिकति गडबड भयो भने what you need to remember is that it needs to be consistent. So, for example, if your first citation of a certain case, like Mohan versus Hari, very imaginary, Mohan versus Hari, say italics mas Hari, no? So just go through all of the citation and make sure that like Ram versus Sham is also italicized. So consistency okay. So कति बेला टाइममा चाहिँ like कति धेरै unnecessary whole citation when you are looking into citationsहरू हुन्छ नि, it's very difficult to get सबै कुराहरू right. So त्यो हिसाबमा चाहिँ just make sure that all of your citations are very के भन्छ एउटै लयमा गइरहेको हुन्छ, that all of the formatting are seen. अनि as I said, I'm just going to share the screen again, you cite this for me भन्नेमा, which will help you um, with most of your citation. For example, अहिले हामी कुन citation गरौँ रे भने अस्कोला गरौँ रे, हैन. And just go there, choose a citation, kun citation गर्ने हो, and then look if it's a book, if it's a journal, if it's a website, and then just go more, right? On if it's a court case, if it's a legislation, or for example, let's just say you book or and just like यहाँनिर गरे अनि यहाँनिर अब let's just see one of the citations कुन use भएको छ बुकमा. let's just do Shawको किताब हैन. Okay. Malcolm and Shawको international law छैन. Okay, for example, यो नि भयो. Yeah, and then you just put the name of the book that you've used and just search for it. अनि यही it's so यसले आफै दिन्छ के. So okay, so कुन edition हो, just make sure that you have all the information. And so for example, हामी चाहिँ 2021 को हुन्छ नि, like नयाँ latest version आएको रहेछ नि त. So it's always good to show that editions are so important. So just click cite and it will give you हुन्छ नि, so यो informationहरू छ भनेर दिइरहेको हुन्छ, हैन. And you just go continue, right? And then for example, you're using page 79, right? And you're like edition, so this is like maybe 12th edition, 2021 ko 12th edition hola, so just complete the citation. See, you'll get these two things, right? Your footnote भनेर, and you just go and click this, copy this footnote and just paste it there. अनि जुन bibliography मा आइरहेको छ नि, यो चाहिँ हामीले index of authority मा लानु पर्ने हो, okay? So if you use this site, हुन्छ नि, so जुन त्यो अघि भने नि inconsistency त्यो हुने chance हुँदैन, okay? So everything that you do afterwards because will just सबै consistent भएर नै जान्छ. Oh, stop sharing. Yeah, I think those are like some of the tips and some of the, as we went through citations, like कसरी राम्रो बनाउने, कसरी properly table of authority, index of authority, abbreviationsहरू सबै बनाउने भन्ने कुरामा did I miss anything, or should we just yeah begin to wrap it up with Q&As?
If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. अघि मैले कसैको ह्यान्ड रेज भएको चाहिँ देखाएको थिएँ. If you have any questions, please ask. है
Okay, it seems like there isn't any questions, Aru, which is like I'm there are two ways to take it. Either it's completely boring, or you guys understood everything. To boost my own ego, I'm just gonna say you guys understood everything. Okay, so we have a question, I guess, from Prakriti.
First of all, thank you very much. I had this question. यो पुरै फर्मेटहरू क्लियर गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ you mentioned the word brownie points. मेरो चाहिँ के I'm totally novice here है mood को related कुरामा. So what question I had was यो कुराहरू फर्मेटिङ अब लेभल 1 लेभल 2 लेभल 3 भनेर राख्ने कुराहरू अनि हामीले इटालिसाइज गर्ने बोल्ड गर्ने यो सबै फर्मेट मिलाउने कुराहरूमा सानोतिनो मिस्टेक भयो भने मेजर मार्क्स काट्ने हो कि मेन कुरा उनीहरूले हेर्ने भनेको हामीले फ्याक्ट्सहरू कसरी लिएको छौँ आर्गुमेन्ट्सहरू कसरी क्रिएट गरेको छौँ त्यो कुरालाई मेन इम्पोर्टेन्स दिएर पछि गएर यो कुराहरूलाई सानो रूपमा लिने हो कि यही कुराहरूले पनि एकदम राम्ररी नै मार्क्स काट्छ भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ आई ह्याड
Okay. No, I think that's such a important question. You know? Thank you so very much. So when you look at your memorial, even if you look at moot court, there are like different awards around Sanita. So there is this award for best memorial, there is award for best speaker, and then so these there are different parts to a moot court competition. You know? And as you rightly questioned, you know, focus you do focus in a legal arguments or rules, and you make sure that on the first level तिम्रो legal arguments are सबै sound छ तिमीसँग सबै कुराहरू छ हैन and then it's not that त्यो भइसकेपछि you focus on your formatting भन्दा पनि when you are making your legal arguments or when you're working on a document यो कुरा तिमीले स्टार्टिङमा नै के भन्छ फर्मेटिङहरू level 1 level 2 गर्दै गयो भने हुन्छ नि सो त्यो गर्यो भने चाहिँ it'll really help towards the end के नभए चाहिँ towards the end what happens is you'll be grasping हुन्छ नि ला अब के गर्ने के नगर्ने भनेर अनि once you send your memorial it really does impact because when memorial judge भइरहेको हुन्छ there are different aspect to a memorial being judged okay? So there are technical points हुन्छ and then there are legal argument points पनि हुन्छ okay? So for example if your technical point is 30% and a legal point is like 70% right it's there भन्नाले 90% above हुन्छ नि पाउने memorial are usually हुन्छ नि your best memorial and उनीहरूले नै best memorial जित्छ अनि most of the time your memorial plus your त्यो हुन्छ नि will be additional value हुन्छ नि so memorialबाट पनि certain pointsहरू जोडेर स्पिकिङकोमा गएर pleading र memorial दुइटै गरेर चाहिँ next roundमा जाने qualification हुने भन्ने कुराहरू हुन्छ कि so it's really important to score high on your memorial, not just to win best memorial independently, but also to have के भन्छ to aid your त्यो competitionमा चाहिँ अघि बढ्नलाई aid गर्छ and then again memorial के कुरा गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ legal argumentहरू हुनुपर्ने त सबसे important कुरा नै हो त्यो नभइकन त how do you do it but like to score really high on memorial you do need to have हुन्छ नि यो very good format a lot of the time if you don't have a proper format even though your argument might be very sound it might have covered some bases you will not score very high just because the judges will not go through all of your argument okay they will just go through the memorial कस्तो छ भनेर they will in initial reading and that initial reading will shape how they will maybe score so त्यो हिसाबमा चाहिँ there have been time when के भन्छ यो like you know as a team moot court competition नै जितेको छ but they have had the हुन्छ नि like very really bad memorial but they will never have the worst memorial okay so so त्यो हिसाबमा चाहिँ your memorial will really help you अनि मैले अघि भनेको चाहिँ it's not something that you do afterwards it's something that you do before formatting so that it helps. So you do all of those things writing an argument, and it really helps you. And then towards the end, the indentation मिलाउने कुरादेखि लिएर को कुराहरू गर्ने. So it's like formatting your argument and then formatting again, right? So it just gives you that sandwich space. And then अर्को कुरा पनि के भन्छु भने, which was very important for us and which really helped us was is to have two designated person who will be like checker, okay? So first round of checking much you'll do your spell checks. Oh, did I talk about Grammarly? You need to have Grammarly, right? I hope everyone has Grammarly. It's like such a easy app. So yeah, just another tip, have Grammarly. And so दुईटा पर्सन हुन्छ होइन मेमोरियलको लागि चाहिँ दुईटा पर्सन चाहिँ चुजै गरेर राख, ट्रस्ट समवन हुज भेरी लाइक मोनिका फ्रम फ्रेन्ड्स. अनि सो वान पर्सन विल हुन्छ नि लुक एट द स्पेलिङ्स, साइटेसन्सहरू मिलाएको छ कि छैन, सबै कुराहरू राम्रोसँग भएको छ कि छैन भनेर हेर्छ होइन, फर्मेट्सहरू हेर्छ. एन्ड देन देयर विल बी समन एल्स टु चेक द्याट अल्सो के. सो त्यो भयो भने चाहिँ दे आर भेरी लेस चान्स द्याट थिङ्स विल फल थ्रु द क्र्याक. So that's very important to have two designated person from the beginning. And especially you always need to respect the time of these designated person as well, and also respect their decisions because कति टाइममा चाहिँ when you're submitting the memo there's a lot of stress going on अनि ला यो भएन छ त यसमा rework गरौँ न यो change गरौँ न भन्दाखेरि there might be some friction के which these are small nuances हरू जुन चाहिँ आइरहन्छ. And if you already have this certain designated person and you're going to respect their judgments and then towards the end you're just going to be like okay my arguments are leaking, this is the max that I can do, now take forward भनेर उनीहरूले जब त्यो चेकिङ गर्दै जान्छ त्यो हिसाबमा चाहिँ it just becomes so much easier for everyone. So that's like so when someone is writing the argument in itself, someone could be looking at the formats at the same time. Okay. Yeah, I hope that answered your questions.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, so I have another question, which is like, हजुरले recommend गर्नुभएको site reliable छ? Okay, so this is in terms of site this for me होइन, which I'm like यसमा चाहिँ के भन्छु भने like all of the mooters हुन्छ नि moot court competition मा they are using site this for me मा, अनि it's very consistent. त्यसमा के भन्छ यो ग्लिचेसहरू आउने कुरा छैन, because what you do is भन्नाले यो बिब्लियोग्राफीमा बनायो and you just copy paste it नि त. So त्यो गर्नुपर्छ. But what is really important to understand is, sorry, I'm just going to share it again. What is very important is to that's why you need to have a human checker पनि के, just so that because machine त हो कहिलेकाहीँ copy paste मा mistake भएको हुन सक्छ. I wouldn't say like formatमा mistake भएको छ भनेर, but copy paste गर्दा mistake भएको हुन सक्छ. अनि अर्को कुरा चाहिँ right, if you do add new reference गर्यो रे हैन, अनि अब for example अब you don't know के अब यो के हो भनेर कोर्ट केस त हो, तर अब हुन्छ नि कुन कोर्ट केस हो त, इज इट नेशनल, इज इट हुन्छ नि इन्टरनेशनल, कति धेरै कुराहरू हुन्छ नि त. सो त्यो हिसाबमा चाहिँ इट्स इफ यु आर भेरी कन्फ्युज, रिफर टु द के भन्छ द बुक नै इट्सेल्फ. त्यसै द ब्लू बुकको साइटेसनको एडिसन भनेर दिएको नि हुन्छ, सो अरू हुन्छ. सो इट्स भेरी इम्पोर्टेन्ट टु also have a human checker, but to make things super easier, super efficient, you can use this site. And just make sure that when you are doing the you click or the you're clicking the right citation, and then you're clicking the correct hama. Okay, let's just see correct hama. For example, if it's if you're adding the reference, just make sure that it's the correct reference that you're using. If it's a book, right? If it's like a government publication, okay, like legislation, okay, so you might be confused. Court case, legislation, different problems. So like even dissertations or so, always make sure. And then your international court cases, it's always better to look into the citation guidance and this money that it's much more easier. You just yeah, so that I would say in conjunction do they use gara, but you cite this for me say most of the motors are let's use garirako huncha, and it's pretty much reliable. Or this oh my god, how do I stop? Okay, stop presenting. There we go. Pretty old guys. So yeah, you can trust cite this for me. Like I've used it multiple of times, and a lot of my motor friends they've used it, and it saves a lot of time. But you need to have the human checker pani pachichi.
Do we have any other questions? If not, then मलाई नै पनि एउटा like I suggest you to give us some suggestions for oral arguments and how to win moot court competitions in general. Just some tips and tricks here and there. It would be really insightful.
Okay. So just in terms of the okay. So you're talking about oral arguments or हिसाबमा हैन? Okay, yeah. Oral arguments को चाहिँ I think it's so much important when you're writing a memorial. I'm going to focus so much on memorial, is that when you're doing all of these memorials, that the entire team involved is so important, right? So when I was coaching the US Nepal moot court competition, I made sure that each of my participants, even though they had a certain claim, that they were back and forth maybe someone is writing claim A from applicant, then someone is writing claim A from the respondent. I used to make them interact with each other, and I used to make them interact with maybe claim B, which they didn't know. Okay, so you'll have a very holistic understanding of the entire oral arguments, because a lot of the time, you have claim one, and that's your claim, and you go and you speak and you do so much better, but the judges will probably try to simply just to confuse you, or just to judges ko kaam hi त्यही नै हो, okay, when you're on the moot bench, not to understand your knowledge or other things, because we know that all of you are super talented. Your stage ma pugisakeपछि we're just trying to make you confused, we're just trying to startle you, and so they might just ask हुन्छ नि claim A भइरहेछ but claim B को एउटा कुन फ्याक्टरबाट क्वेसन सोधिन सक्छ क्या, and you're like ला यो त मेरो, you can't say this is not my claim, right? So त्यो हिसाबमा चाहिँ to avoid that, when you're writing memorial, formatting memorial, सबै team involved भयो भने चाहिँ it becomes so much easier for you to have a very holistic understanding of the entire case, and then you can just be like, thank you so very much for the question. हुन्छ नि, सो मेरो यो आर्ग्युमेन्टमा चाहिँ त्यो फ्याक्ट चाहिँ यसरी टाई भएर आउँछ, एन्ड माई फ्रेन्ड अर लाइक माई सेकेन्ड स्पिकर विल टक इन इलाबोरेट हुन्छ नि, विल इलाबोरेट मोर अन इट, सो आई विल फोकस मच अन दिस पार्ट भनेर यु क्यान जस्ट go ahead. And if you're like a bit confident and you have had that conversation with your second speaker, you can just be like, तपाईँले question सोधिहाल्नु भयो, so let me give you a very small snapshot. So you can just say the argument in one line, so that you're also not taking the time and argument of your second speaker. You really need to respect that. So त्यो गर्न सकिन्छ. अनि अर्को भनेको चाहिँ like when you're doing your memorial गर्दाखेरि नै, again memorial गर्दाखेरि नै, is that you need to have certain, you don't need to remember each line of the memorial. Just have maybe a sheet of paper on this much arguments or rooms, like whatever helps. For me, it always helped to have given, so we go get it you different जस्तै म यता रुख बनाउँथेँ, रुखको तल हुन्छ नि खोला बनाउँथेँ, अनि I used to have a clear, अनि त्यो रुख चाहिँ यो represent गर्छ, खोलाले चाहिँ यो represent गर्छ भनेर I used to have that story in my mind. Okay, so when I went up to the judges, even though कहिलेकाहीँ nervous say blank भए पनि, it would be easier for me to just have that flow, that I would never lose the flow. And even if I lost the flow, I would just look down and then see where I am. So it really helped me. And just have a single sheet of paper, very small maybe, keep it on the side, and then maybe have a smile on it or something on it, just so that when you look at it, you'll have a smile on your face. I think about Bolikoma session, you'll go more in depth in terms of oral arguments, but yeah, I just wanted to share the experience that helped me become a better oralist, was to speak slow, clear, and to have little notes just on the side which says smile, because most of the time when you're doing the arguments, when you're getting serious, and you just become so rigid on it, like and when you look at the note, you will have a sense of it's a competition I have to बिस्तारै बिस्तारै अगाडि लानुपर्छ भनेर, and that really helps you become a better speaker. And I think अर्को just a slight suggestion is to never become cocky, because कतिवटा टाइममा चाहिँ you have a researcher and then you have a speaker भनेर already mention गरेको हुन्छ हैन, and you don't really understand the value of researcher, but researcher is the person who carries the entire competition. Okay, so if you're a speaker, help your researcher, be with them when they're doing all of these things or rooms, and just be in the process, because that will make you a better oralist. So yeah, just don't try to ignore memorial orally बनाइहाल्छ, argument oral लेखिहाल्छ, म त त्यो रटेर बोल्छु भनेर चाहिँ कहिले त्यो हुन्छ नि त्यो त्यस्तो नसोच्नु होला.
Yeah, thank you so much for answering and giving us some advice. I think that's a really interesting advice. किनकि मेरो आफ्नै पर्सनल एक्सपिरियन्समा पनि कहिलेकाहीँ चाहिँ अगाडि गएर जजेसहरूको अगाडि बोल्दाखेरि चाहिँ इट गेट्स टु ओभरवेलमिङ के एट टाइम्स अनि त्यसपछि यु टेन टु फर्गेट द स्ट्रक्चर अफ यर आर्ग्युमेन्ट अनि आई थिङ्क इट्स रियली इम्पोर्टेन्ट एडभाइस कुनै एउटा क्रिएटिभ भिजुअल चाहिँ जसमा एसोसिएट गरेर टु रिमेम्बर द स्ट्रक्चर अफ यर आर्ग्युमेन्ट एन्ड वाट युर गोइङ टु सी आई थिङ्क द्याट्स एकदमै धेरै इम्पोर्टेन्ट एन्ड युजफुल एडभाइस पनि हो वेन युआर डुइङ ओरल आर्ग्युमेन्ट्स एन्ड मोस्ट अफ इट भनेको त आफ्नो मेमोरियल पनि प्लस मुड प्रब्लम पनि अल इन अल सबै कुरा थाहा हुनु अनि त्यसपछि जहिले पनि रिभाइज गरेर टु अन्डरस्ट्यान्ड वाट द कन्टेन्ट इज अनि इस्यु के हो आर्ग्यु गरिरहेको त्यो कुरा चाहिँ अन्डरस्ट्यान्ड गर्नु इम्पोर्टेन्ट हुन्छ एनी फलोअप क्वेसन्स कसैलाई केही सोध्नु छ एनी कन्फ्युजन्स guys, please make the best use out of it. Because we're like here with one of the best scooters and trainers in Navalagi, so it's a really great opportunity. So does anyone else have any questions? No one is responding, so I guess it's a no. Okay, so अरू कुनै क्वेसन्सहरू छैन भने shall we wrap up? Diksha, what do you think?
Yes, if कसैलाई केही questions छैन भने चाहिँ we can wrap up the session. If Dia is comfortable, she can share her contact details, email or anything, and you can reach out to her. Or if not, तपाईहरुले के यो सेल डिबेटिङ एन्ड मुटिङ सोसाइटीमै रिच आउट गरे पनि हुन्छ. We'll try to reach Dia and other mooters and answer your queries, your doubts, confusions. Hey? So if no one has any questions, I think we can wrap up the session, Anjali.
Okay, so first of all, thank you so much everyone for joining with us today, and thank you so much BRD for giving us your invaluable time and effort to join us today. I'm sure all the participants had a lot to learn from you, and we really hope that all of them have a lot more clarity on memory formatting and citation. Thank you so much for an insightful session, and we really look forward to many more collaborations like this in the future. And to all the participants who joined us today, as Diksha also said, please do not hesitate to reach out to DAMS or any of the seniors at KUSL or outside whenever you need help. And we're always here to guide you in any way you can, any way we can. So I really hope you guys enjoyed today's session and it was fruitful for you guys. Before we wrap up, a small reminder for tomorrow's session. We have our third and final session on oral argumentation tomorrow, starting at 3 p.m. sharp. Hope to see you all tomorrow. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Bye-bye. Take care.